Differences between rational numbers. This is a quick presentation on how to find differences between any two numbers. So what's the difference between 4 and 9? We're going to start with a fairly easy one. We're going to use some visuals along the way here. So 4 and 9 would both be to the right of 0. And the difference basically means just how far apart are these two numbers. And a lot of you probably already realize that they're 5 apart. Now I'm going to go through this and quickly explain just a little bit more in depth for when we get into some other problems. So you could think of this as the difference between 4 and 9 is 5. You could think of this as the absolute value of 9 minus the absolute value of 4. You'll understand why we're going into this in a few minutes. So, and that's 9 minus 4, which is 5. Okay, moving on. The next one we're going to have is what's the difference between -8 and -5. Now both of these numbers are on the left side of 0. So when they're on the left side of 0, you still see how far apart they are, and how far apart are 5 and 8? They're 3 apart. So the difference between -8 and 5 is 3. Notice how I didn't say negative or anything. The difference is always going to be a positive amount. One way you could sort this out mathematically is you could say, oh, that's 8 away from 0. Take away the 5 away from 0, and you subtract them and you get 3. I'll let you soak that in for a sec. Now we're going to find the difference between -4 and 9. Well, -4 is to the left of 0, 9 is to the right of 0. We're not going to want to subtract these two values. We actually want to look at these two values and add them. -4 is 4 away from 0, 9 is 9 away from 0, so we're adding their absolute values. So the difference between -4 and 9 is 13. So the absolute value of -4 was 4, the absolute value of 9 is 9, and you add them up. When the two numbers are on opposite sides of 0, you add their absolute values. Now we're going to go ahead and deal with some decimals. The difference between 5 and 3/10 and 10 and 1/10. Not a big deal. They're both to the right of 0. They're both on the same side. You're just going to subtract their absolute values. And you end up getting 4 and 8/10. So the difference between these two numbers is 4 and 8/10. You found the absolute value of 10 and 1/10. Find the absolute value of the other and subtract them. When they're on the same side of 0, you're going to subtract their absolute values. For this one, we've got -4/10, -6 and 3/10. Those are both to the left of 0. -4/10 is pretty close to 0, and this one's over here a further bit down. We're going to see how far apart they are, and you would just do this 6.3 minus 0.4. The official proof is going to be, so it's going to be 5 and 9/10. You take the absolute value of the one that's further away, subtract off the absolute value of the other one, and you end up getting 5 and 9/10. Finally, we have the difference between -5 and 1/10 and 6 and 5/10. I'm going to put them on the number line, just an estimate. One's to the left, one's to the right. We're going to take their absolute values, and we would not subtract them this time. We're finding the distance. We would add their absolute values together and get 11 and 6/10. The process is this. So here's the difference. We would take the absolute value of the negative, absolute value of the positive, and add them together. And that is about it. Hopefully this is a quick little lesson that'll help clarify some things for you. Thanks.